What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Y2Shadows, and we're back at it again with another Hoop Nights video. And today we're going to preview the play-in games, and we're going to get my thoughts on kind of the teams in the play-in as a whole, and who I think is going to win, who I think is going to advance, and who's going to go home. I'm not going to do like the obviously like the other matchups, right? Because the playing games on Friday. When those happen, obviously like there's losers of the 7-8 and then the winners of the 8-9. I'm not gonna do those predictions until we actually get official confirmation on tomorrow of who's going to be like in those games. So that video will obviously come out on Friday. So like the video of like, hey, who's going to get the official 8th seed in both conferences, like I'll do that video on Thursday night after we get the games, either Thursday night or like sometime later this week. But yeah, just know we're only doing the games that are like set in stone right now, like the for sure matchups. I'm only just going to predict those. So let's kind of talk about it. We're gonna get into both of the games, and leave a like and comment if you guys do enjoy. So we're going to talk about both of the 9-10 matchups first, and then we'll go into the 7-8 matchups. So let's start off in the East. In the East, we have the Chicago Bulls, 9th seeded Bulls, facing the 10th seeded Miami Heat. For whatever reason, you can lock these two teams into play-in every single year. I don't know why they're just like in this position where they're not terrible enough to really get high draft picks that is going to change their franchise, but they're also like not good enough to really be relevant in the standings. They're always just they're always just playing teams. They're just to play extra games that won't really help their franchises going forward in the future. But it's just very interesting how these two teams are always in the play-in. So kind of since the trade deadline, right, has been going down. Chicago's obviously been on a roller coaster up and down all season, same as Miami. Chicago had a couple of key wins though, most notably beating the Lakers twice, beating them really bad in LA, and then stealing a potential game winner from Austin Reeves with Josh Giddey's half-court shot. So Chicago's been trying to build something as late. As you can see, Kobe White's probably their I would say definitively Kobe White's their best player at the moment. I wouldn't put Giddey ahead of them, even though Giddey definitely does more for the team, especially with Giddey's assist numbers for the year, which Giddey for the year says he's averaging he's averaging 15 and 7 on the year. So and actually this is go even more. He's 15, 7, and 8 with everything, and also averaging 1.2 steals as well. So Giddey's having, I would say, one of his best years ever, if not like his best overall year of his career so far. Like Josh Giddey's doing pretty well for Chicago. Buzelli has been a really nice pickup for the Bulls this year. I checked the rookie ladder, and they didn't have Buzelli's on any of the rookie teams. They had some rookies that were playing better than Buzelli's, but Buzelli's was an honorable mention for potentially being on the rookie teams, but he's probably not going to make it over any of the top 10 guys in the rookie class that are showing. But Buzelli's has been a pretty nice piece for Chicago, especially being the high leaper that he is, and has been developing his shot for the year. And then obviously there are other solid piece guys there. Picking up Kevin Huerter in that trade, in that huge trade with the Kings, with the Kings and all those other teams. Picking up Kevin Huerter has been a nice addition for their team going in. And then they still got Big Vucevic down there as well. Even though Vucevic is kind of old and hard to really move around, Vucevic still does give them a decent offensive production, because he's still their second leading scorer on the team. So they got a nice little squad. Definitely some nice pieces. And this is a game here where they're going to need everybody, because Miami, just on paper, Miami should be better. Like, from a paper standpoint, Miami should be better, right? Tyler Hero made his first All-Star team this year. Like, he's averaging 24, 5 and 5. So Tyler Hero like should just be like Tyler, like probably if you would say between Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Kobe White, and Josh Giddey or Vucevic, who the best player on the court should be, you would say it should be Tyler Hero, and that's what it should be. What it should be. Will it actually be the case? We have no clues. That's why these two teams are at the bottom of the play-in. But Tyler Hero's been had in a career year. Bam is definitely having a downward year in terms of his numbers and production, but he's still giving you 18 and 10 for like double for the year. So Wiggins, funny enough, Wiggins been he hasn't lived up to his hype, but then again, Wiggins never really done that throughout his career, but still averaging 19 points for Miami is good. Keller Ware has been one of the bright spots for Miami because he's averaging 9 points and 1.1 blocks in the year. Keller Ware has been really good for Miami. And matter of fact, speaking of Buzelis, going back to the rookie ladder, one of the people that is they got over NBA.com has over Buzelis in the rookie team is Keller Ware. They have Keller Ware as the first team. If we just want to go off of the rookie teams right now, they have for first team and second team. For first team right now, NBA.com looks like they have Castle. They have Castle, Risa Shea, Alex Sarr, Keller Ware, and Jalen Wells. And it looks like Castle will probably be the rookie of the year. And then the second team, they got Missy from New Orleans, Zach Edey, Zay Collier, Bub Carrington, and Klingon from the Portland Trailblazers. So yeah, it's like, yeah, one of the rookies that's been flat out, that's just kind of been better than Buzelis this year, is going to be on the team that they will be playing. There. Now, one thing I will say about Chicago and these play-ins, because Chicago has co-hosted a couple of play-ins now, is that Chicago does love to show up. Chicago has a really nice feisty crowd that they get their energy going. So Chicago will definitely show up for sure. If you're gonna give me this one though, I'm going to take the Heat in a close one though. The reason why I would probably take Heat is because Tyler Hero theoretically should just be the best overall player on the court. Bam is not dealing with currently any injuries and way more athletic than Vucevic. So Bam should be able to. I would say he should be able to box get a bunch of rebounds and show Keller Ware. Him and Keller Ware should be sharing a chunk on the rebounds portion. And then they got a really nice defensive stopper in that Sacramento trade with Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell's a nice defender on the team. Andrew Wiggins, obviously in the Jimmy Butler trade, Andrew Wiggins is somebody who can score and probably be the leading scorer on your team, and wouldn't be a detriment. So I would take Miami. I would say it'd be a close one though. I can't see this being like a blowout, especially with how Chicago's home crowd is going to go up. But I'm just going to believe in the proven players and the proven production there, and say that I'm going to take proven over any potential in this case. So that's where I would lean towards in this matchup. Next, let's talk about Mavericks and Kings. This one is also one that I kind of feel confident on who's going to be the winner of this game, but let's kind of go more into it. So the Sacramento Kings this year, ever since they had like a crazy up and down year, starting with the fact that they started off the year not going too strong, and then they fired Mike Brown early into the year. De'Aaron Fox was not happy with the direction that the franchise was going and requested a trade, and at the trade deadline was dealt to the San Antonio Spurs to help pair alongside Victor Wembanyama. And then for the Mavericks, we don't have to talk too much about the trade of probably the biggest trade ever, obviously, but We know that Luka Doncic was traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, a first-round pick, and then a couple other Mavs players were there, but most of them were either hurt or just didn't play. Like Kleba may play in the playoffs potentially if they want to think about using him in the small ball five, but he hasn't played pretty much all year, so I doubt he plays. And then Keith is just a good vet on the back of the bench. But the Mavs injuries. The Mavs just had like a series of injury bugs, and it just got worse and worse for the Mavericks. Like Anthony Davis, when he first came back, couple quarters into the game, he suffered either an oblique injury or like a groin injury, something over like around his midsection that had him miss pretty much almost the entirety of the rest of the NBA season until like late March, until like no, not even late March. I believe it was like April when he finally came back, like early April when he came back. So AD had came back, did really well in his first game as a Maverick, and then got hurt, in that game. And then Kyrie, unfortunately, his ACL was done for the year. So Kyrie's been dealing with that, and then Derek Lively has just not looked good ever since Luka has been gone. Lively and AD just don't seem to gel together on the court at all. AD and Gafford look pretty decent, but AD and Lively just don't look good at all. And Lively, without missing that offensive threat that would feed him and throw him lobs, just has not appeared to be the same. Klay Thompson, for what Klay Thompson can provide you in the year 2025, Klay Thompson's been okay-ish for them. Max Christie, to start off his first couple of games as a Dallas Maverick, he was doing pretty good for them, where he was averaging like at least 15 points. Looked solid, but then he kind of regressed and came back down to earth. And then now I don't think he's getting minutes as much. And then Caleb Martin, who missed like a bunch of time too, actually no, Caleb Martin got dealt to the Suns, I believe, so he's not even on that is he on the team? Or does me? I'm confusing the Martin twins possibly, because there's like I'm looking at Basketball Reference right now, and Basketball Reference has Caleb Martin on here, but I'm pretty sure Caleb Martin got traded to the Suns, so maybe they just haven't updated it. But pretty much with Kyrie out for the year, right? And even though Kyrie's a shooting guard, Kyrie was like your main, he was supposed to be the main ball handler. Your ball handlers are Spencer Dinwiddie and how they've been using him, Najee Marshall. And it has not been good with Dinwiddie playing your point guard, and Najee Marshall, while he's been getting a couple of buckets, he's just not suited for that role to be the point guard for that game. And then when you kind of get to the Kings side, right, where the Kings have kind of been like really like up and down all year, DeRozan was finally was happy to play with Zach LaVine again, and then obviously Sabonis was an underrated pick for some people, where he could potentially make third team All-NBA. Like, some people were vouching for him. I don't think he's going to make it, because there's just the people that are above him in the third team All-NBA. They're just on teams with better records. But there was some arguments for Sabonis to make it for potentially third team this year with how he was playing. But realistically with the Kings, the thing that just kind of happened out of nowhere is Zach LaVine just hit a burner the moment that April hit. Like, since April hit, Zach LaVine has been averaging 27 points a game. And then more specifically, we go into his last 5 games of the year, he's been averaging 30 points a game. So Zach LaVine, pretty much since April has kind of really turned it up a notch. Like, he has games of 37 points and 43 points in literally a back-to-back versus the Cavs and the Detroit Pistons. So that's just like goes to show you. And then also against other playoff teams in the Nuggets and the Clippers, he had 27 points and 26 points respectively there as well. So Zach LaVine, kind of since April hit, has just been like really on a burner. And I think in a 1-game series, you will see Zach LaVine just turn on this burner and go off for 30 plus points. And that'll probably be like the real difference. Now, I would bring up Anthony Davis and say that Anthony Davis should theoretically be the best player on the court. But if anybody knows, especially me being a Lakers fan knows, up until like very, very recently, and I mean like probably either earlier this year or at the end of last year, Domantas Sabonis would punk AD and kick AD's ass every time they matched up. So if Sabonis is going to punk AD, this game's probably not going to be close. I don't see a lot of scenarios where I can confidently feel that this Mavericks team, with how injured they are, with not really a point guard on their roster, and kind of the direction that they're looking at, I don't really see a way for this Mavericks team to pull off the win. Even if AD goes off for 50, I can still see here. I can still see a scenario where Zach LaVine has like 35 plus, and then Sabonis has a 20 and 10 game, and it just kind of like offsets the bench. Also considering the fact that, again, they have Malik Monk off of their bench, which Malik Monk is probably a better six man than I would say a lot of like almost everybody else on the Maverick squad. I would personally say. So yeah, I got the Kings in this one pretty easily. Like, I don't see, if this game ends up being close, I'll be surprised. If the Mavericks win this game, I'll be upwardly surprised, because I just don't see a scenario with how the Mavericks have been playing and other history where the Mavericks should pull this game out. I just don't see it. Next, let's talk about the Magic and the Hawks. So now we're getting into the 7-10 matchup here. And this one's a very interesting one, right? Because both teams are missing key starters that are done for the year, that I would say if both of them are in this matchup, we're either looking at a more elevated matchup, or some of these teams maybe potentially not even being in this position, because it would be a lot better with said missing players. To bring up particulars, Atlanta Hawks is missing Jalen Johnson for the rest of the year with the shoulder injury that Jalen Johnson had suffered back in January. And then Suggs for the Magic tore his hamstring. I think was it his quad or hamstring? It was quad. Yeah, he tore his quad. So he was out for the year back in March with the torn quad as well. And they're also missing Mo Wagner as well. Mo Wagner tore his ACL as well, one of their bench pieces as well. So this team both of these teams here are teams that, when you look at kind of how you probably would project them to be, and where like they are because of those missing players, it's just a very interesting thought to think about. Now, Orlando badly missed Suggs, because if we want to talk about how bad they've been, since Suggs has been out, Orlando is one of the worst offenses in the league. At one point, I believe that they were runaway the worst offense in the league. Recently, because of kind of the efforts of Paolo, and because of like Paolo and Franz, their offensive rating has gone up a little bit. But right now, they're 27th in the league in offensive rating, whereas the Atlanta Hawks are 18th. So Atlanta Hawks a little bit more towards the bottom half of the league, but they're also more closer to the middle of the pack at least than obviously the Orlando Magics are. The big difference, though, that's very, very noticeable, is the Hawks are 19th in defensive rating, which again, middle of the pack towards the bottom end of the league. The Magic are second in defensive rating. Only the Oklahoma City is better. Only the Oklahoma City Thunder is better in defensive rating this year. So when it comes to per 100 possessions, the Orlando Magic strap teams down, and they will lock you up. And then putting aside that Paolo had a nice leap this year, and Franz has been playing a lot better as well. So Franz also did a little bit of leap as well. Then you got KCP. Coming in, being a nice vet and starting to hit some shots with them that he just was not doing earlier in the year and was getting fried. you got a very interesting game on your hands here. For the Hawks side, Y2Shadows has been coming along. There was a point in the year where I just did not see the production from both pretty much a bunch of the top picks. Like outside of Castle, I mean Reed Shepherd doesn't even play for the Rockets for real. Like the number 3 overall pick just doesn't get minutes on the Rockets team, and now the Rockets are just they're the number 2 in the West, and the Rockets are just a good, like, you know, they're just really like they're good, right? But the Rockets just weren't like they weren't giving production, like the Rockets just weren't giving him production, and then Y2Shadows and Alex Sarr were getting their opportunities, but they just weren't showing up with their production. But what I will say is, if you go looking into some of their recent games, you can kind of see that, hey, Y2Shadows is starting to come along. For example, in a game recently, in one of his best game recently of the year, he had 38 points. So he's been starting to come along here in his last 5 games. I'm about to bring up specifically what his last 5 games were in 1 second. Oh yeah, he had 38. Yeah, he had his last 5 games, right? So his last 5 games, he had 16 versus the Jazz. He did do well in the loss to Orlando, where he had 8 points, but he went off against Brooklyn. He had 38 against Brooklyn, his best career game. He had 12 against Philly, and then 6 against the Magic. So he's been like kind of really inconsistent throughout for the year. But when you look at those numbers for the last 5 games, like some of those numbers, you can see that there's a little bit of like a possible development of progress for Y2Shadows that's coming along inside of the game. Trae Young has just been doing Trae Young things, averaging another, I'm pretty sure it's 24 and 10. Actually, I apologize, Trae Young. Let me not downplay your awards. 24 and 12. Trae Young leading the league in total assists and assists per game again. Also with 1.2 steals. He also has, I believe, the most turnovers in the league as well, but which that kind of tends to happen when you're ball dominant and dominate the ball as much as Trae Young does. But one of their key pieces and acquisitions, I think, throughout the year that I think was a really great sign was them getting Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels is in the running for not only for DPOY, but also for most improved player, because Dyson Daniels came from New Orleans over to Atlanta and became a much better player, has been really locking down on defense. He's averaging 3 steals a game on defense. Like, it's nuts. 3 steals a game is absolutely insane. And he's been playing pretty good on offense for the Hawks as well. So this game is a really interesting one, and I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure I feel strongly about my pick. I'm going to pick the Orlando Magic in this one, though, and I think my main reasons why I'm going to do that is it's kind of really simple. It's just that defensive rating, it means a lot. It really means that they can strap down and they can hold a team under a certain amount for scoring, and I'm going to bank on Orlando's defense stopping Trae Young and saying, one of you other guys are gonna have to beat me, which it's if Y2Shadows wants to pull out his bag and do what he did against the Nets, then you just got to call a spade there if you're Orlando. But I feel like you would bank more on like you would rather Y2Shadows try to get his game off rather than Trae Young, because you know Trae Young is lethal from everywhere, and then he'll dash your team up with assists going for there as well. So I'm gonna take the Magic in a really close one here because of their defensive rating, but this is one that realistically I think could go any other way, because you can get a random Trae Young explosion out of nowhere, or you can have one of your other role players step up and lock in and play good defense, and it changes the life of that potential matchup as well. So lastly, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Grizzlies versus Warriors. This one I really don't need to do too much on basketball reference. I'm kind of just gonna go straight off for the heart and knowledge, and my knowledge for this one, kind of because I watched these teams a lot more than I did the other two teams, not the other two teams, but the other 6 teams, to be fair. So the Grizzlies already, right, are missing Jalen Wells for the rest of the year. If you guys remember a few games back, Jalen Wells was going up. I don't remember if it was for a dunk or for a layup attempt, but they were playing the Charlotte Hornets, and one of the Hornets players took him out from underneath, and he fell down on his face. He tried to protect himself, but he didn't get. But he was in such a bad position where he landed on his hand and his face, where he broke his hand and has a laceration in his face. He's obviously out for the year. He's done, and I believe they said like at one point like he had like knocked himself out for a minute. Like he didn't get awoken until like later, with how badly that ended up happening. So really unfortunate, especially for a dude that was in the second round and was on the first team all rookie team, which he's still going to be on that team from how good he played this year for the Grizzlies. But it just sucks that they just won't have their guy out there on the floor. And then for Golden State had pretty much a prime position to make the top 6, but then they ended up having 2 terrible losses. Well, let me not say terrible for one of them. I would definitely say there's one terrible loss in the Spurs, losing to the Spurs, with how bad Steph and Draymond played at the end of the game, was where something that they definitely deserved to lose that game, with how they did that one. That's definitely something that they deserve to lose that game with how they ended up playing. But as far as the Clippers game goes, the one that just happened on Sunday, that one they could have won that game. Steph had 8 turnovers in that game, though. He kind of played a lot better in the second half, but 8 turnovers is not going to cut it. Obviously, it's not going to cut it obviously for them at all. So that's just not going to be good in that case for them. And then Draymond had a couple opportunities. They had a couple opportunities where it was just bad possessions. Steph had a couple just very bad turnovers. Draymond tried to draw a foul where if he makes the layup, the game is a tie game. And he had literally just tried to draw a foul on Kawhi just stayed home, and Draymond flailing back wasn't in a good spot to make the layup, so he missed the layup. Literally missed the layup on their end, so they had to go down and foul. Another thing before overtime even happened is there was about 29 to 30 seconds left on the clock, and the Clippers have the ball. Literally, if Draymond doesn't take a foul there, what ends up happening is that at work, best case is the Warriors, Kawhi misses a shot, and then the Warriors get the final shot of the game. Or if he makes the shot, which he was going for a 2-pointer, he wasn't going for a 3, they'd be down 2 with them having the last shot. And instead, Draymond takes a foul, which the game clock was around 9 to 10 seconds, and now the Clippers have the last shot of the game. Ultimately, Kawhi ended up missing it, and they went into overtime. But it's still just boneheaded decisions like that change how games, outcomes of a game. And Jimmy Butler had a decent game as well. Jimmy Butler ended up having 30. He had a really nice game as well, because he was carrying the Warriors for a lot of that stunt before Steph kind of took over. And then as far as another thing with the Warriors is they didn't play Moody some of their last few minutes. They decided to go with Buddy Hield, and Jonathan Kuminga just didn't play at all. Kuminga was out of the rotation, and it just really throws me off why, if they weren't going to believe in Kuminga, if they didn't just deal him at the deadline, could have dealt him at the deadline and been away from it. Instead, they decided to keep him, and now they know pretty much with how disgruntled and out of the rotation they have him, that you're probably going to have to trade him in the summer. And like probably got to trade him in the summer now too, and may not get as good a return as you probably were initially going to get probably at the deadline. So it's just really interesting how that's going. Obviously, for the Memphis side, because of the injury, Vince Williams Jr. is starting in the lineup. Vince Williams Jr. was doing solid off the bench for them, and now he's playing starter minutes. So salute to Vince Williams for being able to do that. That's like really nice for them. One of the things that's disappointing, I will say, for Memphis is how I felt that GG Jackson going into this year was on a nice development track, and I thought GG Jackson was going to really be able to develop into a high level role player or even a star with the Grizzlies. And ever since that injury, that injury that he's been recovering from, he just has not been the same. He's not even in the rotation anymore. Scottie Pippen Jr. has eclipsed him in the rotation. Jalen Wells, obviously the second round pick, Jalen Wells was starting for pretty much I think all year. Vince Williams Jr. out jumped him as well. It's just very disappointing on how that ended up going down. The Grizzlies also fired Taylor Jenkins. There was around like 10 games left to go in the season, and they got rid of Taylor Jenkins, so they're going into a play-in game. They're going now. Yes, it's a play-in now. Yes, they've had they have a day or two to prepare, but you're going into pretty much a playoff level environment. Even though Chase is not Oracle can even though Chase is not Oracle, Chase is still very hostile, and especially with the battles that they've been having for a year, having for some years now. This is something that I can say that it will be a heavily hard environment. I don't know if that replacement coach that they got will be able to make the necessary adjustments or in-game adjustments to be able to overcome that, because Steve Kerr's experience, I think, will just outmatch and outshine there. This game, you know what's funny? This game I feel like should be an obvious Warriors pick, but this is definitely a trap game for the Warriors, and I can feel like I can see them losing. I don't know why, because pretty much what happens is that whenever Ja and Desmond Bane are healthy and they play Golden State in an environment that's like a playoff level atmosphere, Ja and Desmond Bane decide to turn it up to a notch to a T. And the other thing that's interesting as well is Jaren Jackson Jr. has been pissing me off for quite a while now. And I mean like quite a while, he really has. But if Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to get me more than one rebound, then that's also another thing that I feel like is going to change the outcome of how that game is going to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just believe that Golden State is just going to out execute the Timberwolves, the Grizzlies. They're just gonna out execute them in the end, and I believe that Steph Curry and the company will come through down in the closing stretch, especially since the Grizzlies have been terrible at closing a lot this year. But I don't feel strongly about picking the Warriors in this game. I'm going to do it. I'm going to pick the Warriors to win this game, but this is definitely a trap game for the Warriors where I feel like they can blow this, and we could be looking up and saying, wow, the Grizzlies pulled off one of the big upsets of the year. So that's definitely something I feel like I can see. And that is pretty much it. So as you guys know, going through my picks again. So for the 9-10 matchups, I got the Heat over the Bulls, and then I have the Kings over the Mavericks. And then for the 7-8 matchup, I got the Magic over the Hawks, and then I got Warriors over Grizzlies there. Won't lie to you guys, tomorrow we're gonna be in for some great action. Wednesday, hopefully, I don't know really if I could expect too much out of the 9-10s, to be 100% honest. You know what's funny, I don't have a memorable 9-10 matchup game. Like, even the one with the Warriors and Kings from last year, either from last year or I think it was last year, even that one it wasn't memorable because the Kings kind of just were up big the whole time. Yeah, like I don't remember a really memorable 9-10 matchup because I'm pretty sure most of them have always been just pretty much blowouts. So I can't tell you if Wednesday is going to be exciting at all. I'm really not 100% sure. I will say for tomorrow, I believe tomorrow will be exciting for sure. I hope that Atlanta Magic game is pretty close, but I 1000% I know that we're going to get a very great game of hoops in Grizzlies Warriors for sure. I don't think Grizzly Warriors are going to disappoint at all. I think we're going to get a really nice game of hoops in that game. But otherwise, it's going to be it for me as far as the predictions go. I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for kind of watching the videos and sharing the content around. My name is Y2Shadows, and it's been another episode of Hoop Nights. See y'all in the next one. Deuces.